For decades, the world saw Chuck Norris as the unstoppable hero. He was the fighter who never lost, the actor who always stood tall, and the symbol of strength that seemed impossible to break. But behind the fame, the action scenes, and a legendary image was a man who spent years building something far more important than a Hollywood career. As time passed, questions began to grow about his fortune, his legacy, and the people closest to him. What happens when a man known for toughness begins thinking about what he will leave behind? Why has his family spoken with such deep emotion about the life he created? The answer is not simply about money. It is about sacrifice, faith, loss, and the hidden cost of becoming an American icon. The fortune Chuck Norris built may be worth millions, but the true reason his family becomes emotional has little to do with bank accounts. Because sometimes the greatest inheritance is not wealth. It is the story a person leaves behind. Long before Chuck Norris became a Hollywood star, he was simply a quiet boy growing up in difficult circumstances. His family struggled financially, and stability was often hard to find. The home environment carried uncertainty, and those early experiences left a lasting mark on him. As a child, he did not appear destined for fame. He was shy, reserved, and often lacked confidence. While some children naturally seek attention, he preferred to stay unnoticed. Many years later, people would find it difficult to believe that the future action hero once struggled to believe in himself. Psychologically, children who grow up with instability often search for control. They want something dependable in a world that feels uncertain. For Norris, that search would eventually lead him toward discipline. His service in the Air Force became a turning point. During his time overseas, he discovered martial arts. At first, training was simply an interest, but slowly, it became something much deeper. Every movement required focus. Every lesson demanded patience. Each achievement built confidence that had been missing for years. Martial arts gave him rules, structure, and purpose. It taught him that strength was not about anger. It was about self-control. The young man who once felt invisible began to understand that fear could be managed and weakness could become strength. Yet he still had no idea where this path would lead. The shy airman who practiced martial arts after work was about to step toward a future that seemed impossible. And one opportunity would change everything. Success did not arrive overnight. Chuck Norris spent years developing his martial arts skills and competing in tournaments. His reputation slowly grew inside the martial arts community. Students respected him, competitors feared him, and his confidence continued to develop. Yet success brought new psychological challenges. Many people who overcome difficult childhoods struggle with self-doubt even after achieving success. Deep inside, they still carry memories of insecurity. Norris appeared calm and confident, but his journey required constant effort. His introduction to the entertainment world opened a completely new door. Hollywood valued appearance, personality, and performance. He entered an industry where he had little experience. Some people doubted him. Critics questioned whether a martial artist could become an actor. Others believed his quiet personality would limit him. But audiences responded differently. They saw authenticity. Unlike many action stars, Norris seemed believable. His strength felt real because it came from real experience. He did not simply act tough. He had spent years developing the discipline that audiences saw on screen. Movies and television transformed him into a cultural figure. His characters represented justice, order, and personal responsibility. Viewers connected with these values. As success grew, so did his wealth. Film contracts, television work, endorsements, and business opportunities increased his financial security. Yet fame can create distance. The public knew the hero. Few knew the person. Behind the successful image stood a man still trying to balance career, family, and personal identity. And as his fame continued to grow, another challenge quietly waited beyond the cameras. For all of his professional success, family remained central to Chuck Norris's life. The demands of Hollywood often place enormous pressure on relationships. Long filming schedules, travel, and public attention can create distance between loved ones. Many celebrities struggle to balance both worlds. Norris was no exception. While audiences watched him defeat enemies on television, his family experienced the ordinary challenges that every family faces. Children grow up quickly. Relationships require attention. Time becomes increasingly valuable. Psychologically, success often changes priorities. Early in life, people chase achievement because they seek security or recognition. Later, many begin asking different questions. What truly matters? Who will remain when the career ends? As his children grew older, Norris increasingly focused on creating stability. He wanted his family to benefit not only from financial success, but also from the values that guided his own life. Faith became an important foundation. Discipline, responsibility, and loyalty became lessons that extended beyond the movie set. His family saw qualities that audiences rarely witnessed. They saw patience, concern, and a desire to protect those closest to him. The world viewed him as an action hero. His family saw a husband and father. Over time, his priorities slowly shifted away from Hollywood. Success was no longer measured by box office numbers or television ratings. Instead, success became measured by relationships. But life would soon test those relationships in ways that no movie script could predict. And the strongest battles would take place far from the cameras. As the years passed, Chuck Norris began stepping away from the fast pace of Hollywood. The action scenes, film sets, and public appearances became less important than the life waiting for him at home. One of the biggest turning points came when serious health concerns entered his family. His wife, Gina, faced difficult medical challenges that changed the direction of their lives. For a man who had spent decades playing heroes on screen, this was a battle that could not be solved with strength alone. Caregiving requires a different kind of courage. Psychologists often describe this period of life as a shift from achievement to meaning. People who once focused on building careers begin focusing on protecting relationships. Norris appeared to enter this stage with complete commitment. He reduced many professional activities and devoted more time to his family. The man known for defeating villains became a husband sitting beside hospital beds, attending appointments, and facing uncertainty. These experiences reminded him that fame cannot prevent suffering. Wealth cannot guarantee health. Success cannot stop time. Family members witnessed a side of him that the public rarely saw. They saw patience during difficult moments. They saw concern hidden behind calm expressions. They saw a man willing to place his loved ones above everything else. The emotional impact of these years changed his perspective. The questions that once centered on career achievements began changing into questions about legacy. What truly remains after success fades? What do children remember when the cameras disappear? As these thoughts grew stronger, his attention slowly turned toward the future and the inheritance he would eventually leave behind. And that inheritance meant far more than money. Over several decades, Chuck Norris built considerable financial success. Movies, television programs, business investments, endorsements, martial arts schools, and various ventures created substantial wealth. But numbers tell only part of the story. Every dollar represented years of effort. Behind the financial success stood thousands of hours of training, difficult decisions, long workdays, and personal sacrifices. Psychologically, money often becomes symbolic. Families rarely react emotionally to numbers alone. Instead, wealth represents memories, struggles, and achievements. For Norris, his fortune reflected an entire lifetime. It reflected the quiet boy who lacked confidence. It reflected the young serviceman learning martial arts overseas. It reflected the actor who faced rejection before finding success. His family understood that these resources did not appear overnight. They were built slowly through discipline and persistence. Many people spend their lives trying to provide security for future generations. This desire often becomes stronger with age. Financial planning becomes less about personal comfort and more about protecting loved ones. For Norris, the fortune appears connected to responsibility. Family members may see every investment, property, or business decision as evidence of years spent working to create stability. The emotional reactions connected to his wealth likely come from understanding what it cost to build. The money itself may matter, but the life behind it matters even more. Because eventually every family realizes that inheritances carry stories. And the most valuable stories are often the ones built through hardship. Yet another important question still remained. What values would survive long after the financial assets were gone? Throughout his life, Chuck Norris consistently spoke about faith, discipline, and personal responsibility. These values became central to his identity both publicly and privately. As people grow older, priorities often change. Material success becomes less important than meaning. Achievements become less important than relationships. Norris appeared to embrace this transition. His faith provided stability during difficult times. It offered guidance during uncertainty and comfort during personal struggles. For many families, shared values create a legacy that lasts longer than money. Psychologists sometimes describe this stage of life as generativity. It is the desire to pass wisdom to future generations. People begin asking how they will be remembered and what lessons they will leave behind. In many ways, Norris's greatest inheritance may be his example. He showed perseverance after hardship. He demonstrated discipline through martial arts. He displayed loyalty during family challenges. His children and grandchildren inherit not only financial security, but also a model of resilience. Family members often remember conversations more than possessions. They remember sacrifices more than investments. They remember love more than wealth. This may explain why discussions surrounding his legacy create such emotional responses. The tears connected to his fortune may not reflect sadness. They may reflect gratitude. They may represent appreciation for years of protection, guidance, and support. Because sometimes families understand that the true inheritance is not what sits inside bank accounts. It is the character that built those accounts. As his story approached its later chapters, one final question remained. How would history remember Chuck Norris? As a fighter? An actor? Or something much greater? For millions of people around the world, Chuck Norris will always remain the action hero who could never be defeated. His films created unforgettable moments. His television roles made him a household name. Even popular jokes and internet culture transformed him into a modern legend. But the people closest to him know a different story. They know the husband who remained beside his wife during difficult years. They know the father who wanted to provide security. They know the quiet man who once struggled with self-confidence. Over time, public images often become simplified. Celebrities become symbols. Their humanity sometimes disappears behind fame. Yet Norris's personal journey reveals something deeper. His life demonstrates how hardship can create strength. It shows how discipline can overcome fear. It reminds people that success becomes most meaningful when it serves others. The fortune he leaves behind carries emotional weight because it represents an entire lifetime of effort. Every achievement contains memories. Every investment contains sacrifice. Every dollar carries the story of the man who earned it. For his family, the tears may come from understanding the full journey. They may see not only what he built, but also everything he overcame to build it. And perhaps that is the real legacy. Not the action scenes, not the celebrity status, not even the fortune itself, but the example of a man who spent his life turning struggle into strength.